fantastic. He's actually been on the show, one of the hosts. But yeah, outside of Gilmore Girls and Storrs, Connecticut, the UConn Huskies, good season for Mr. Hurley's club. They're back in the top 25, they're not the UConn of old. They're not a Final Four type team, but making some strides. What did you make of the 2021-2022 UConn Huskies? Well,
what's funny is that's more or less the exact same team as the year before, where the stats are incredibly similar. So they were 21st overall. This is Ken Bob numbers. 21st overall last year, 2020, 2021. 22nd overall this year. 2021, 27th in offense, 22nd in offense this year. 4th in offensive rebounding, 2nd in offensive rebounding. 35th in 2-point percentage against, 4th. Block percentage, 10th, and then 4th. So it was basically the same team, but it felt entirely differently because they were up in the polls for most of the year. And last year's team was a 7 seed that, got swept out of the first round by Maryland. But they suffered the exact same fate. They more or less got shooting variance. That 2021 UConn team, they got bounced out because they had one of the worst shooting performances of all time, despite blowing up the boards and getting... I got to look it up because I remember in real time it felt like they had 22 offensive rebounds in the Maryland game in 2021. They out-rebounded Maryland on the boards 22-4 and lost, which is really rare. And so you flash forward to this year. This year they shot okay, I thought, in that game, but it was New Mexico State that went 65% from the three-point line, which is obviously very hard to repeat game over game. If you just flipped the results of those two games, just say UConn loses in the round of 32 to Arkansas, which seems pretty plausible, and the year before, UConn loses to Alabama. Both pretty easy outcomes to imagine. Doesn't it feel like Dan Hurley would have so much more buzz if he'd just won both games? If they hadn't had these truly unreal events happen to them? Because I feel like he's done quite the good job. I don't think, again, we're not exactly staring at the UConn of old under Calhoun, but, this is now 4 seasons removed from Kevin Ollie's departure. And, at least KenPom-wise, you're looking at 98th, 52nd, 21st, 22nd. That's back-to-back top 25 finishes for a program that had not seen back-to-back top 25 finishes since the mid-2000s. So he's got it going in a good way. It's just they have to be able to take the next step. And this is not just like win a tournament game, but it's like really challenge Villanova in the Big East. Yeah. Because 11-6 in conference last year, 13-6 this year. That's good enough for third place. That's fine. That's acceptable. But, honestly, when I'm thinking like third place, I'm thinking like, okay, Creighton is plucky this year, and they're always going to be in third place. Yeah. UConn should probably generally outfinish Providence. UConn should probably generally outfinish Seton Hall, Marquette, etc. So I want to see, and we'll see how this next team does, I want to see them take that next step and legitimately challenge Villanova for... maybe not the whole season, 90% of the way for a Big East title.
And we'll see if that ultimately does happen, right? Like, it's possible. Big East is pretty good going into next year.
Plucky little conference for sure. And I think they'll be dominant on the boards again because Sonogo comes back, and that guy is just brutal to try and box out. But you lose R.J. Cole, you lose, a lot of your shooting talent from last year. Tyrese Martin is gone, Tyler Polley, Isaiah Whaley. So I've got to see, maybe this is sort of the in-between year, but I think, year 5, if you're Dan Hurley, you got to be making the NCAA tournament again, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll end on this. Your stats that you've seen. Do you have a new stat for us, Mr. Stats by Will?
Got 2. Okay. Both of these are actually tournament related since we don't really have much else going on at the moment. So, and this one dates back because Ken has updated his numbers through 1997 now. So there have been 24 champions in the KenPom era. So first, would you believe it that Kansas finished this past season ranking 21st best among them with an adjusted efficiency margin of 27.49? Secondly, can you name the 3 champions since 1997 who ranked worse?
Is UConn one of them?
UConn is two of them.
Oh, boom.
So I figured it was a good one to use right after we talked about them. So yeah, 2011 and 2014, but you got one more.
One of the Kansas teams?
It's not one of the Kansas teams. It is a guy who goes by Mello, wears number 15.
Oh, is it really Syracuse? I would not have guessed
that
Syracuse.
3-seed Syracuse team.
Huh. Would not have guessed that.
So they were the
right
I believe,
game, though.
third worst. So yeah, 2014 UConn, obviously the worst champion of the last. That's no surprise. But yeah, the Kemba team, it just took them so long to get rolling that the NCAA tournament results only make up for so much. But yeah, the Kansas one a little surprising, I would say, because they ended up third in KenPom this year. It's not like they're crappy, but it's just more of like the season, and we saw it in real time. Just very few teams standing out for 4 straight months. A lot of up and down play.
Did you see Syracuse rename their arena?
From the Carrier Dome? What is it now?
It's a long advertisement name. It's look at Will, I've ruined his day.
The JMA Wireless. Why? That's not a real wireless company. That's not Verizon. That's so stupid. That's like Miller Park being American Family Field now.
Yeah,
that's not real.
It's Miller. Like I'm not.
It's Miller Park.
Yeah, Carrier Dome is still Carrier Dome.
This is like when.
Also, why can't they just call it this? Why can't they just say whatever you want to say at the Carrier Dome, but still keep the Carrier Dome?
Well, yeah, J Billis Wireless Field or Court at the Carrier Dome, whatever you want to call it. It's like how they do. What is it at Tennessee? It's something court at Thompson Bowling Arena. It could be Pat Summit.
Is it Pat Summit?
But it used to be something different before Pat retired. It was somebody's name.
I think you're right, and I don't remember.
It could have been Ray Mears Court, maybe.
I'm gonna have to pull up some Chris Lofton tape to double check here. I'm not sure.
Second stat. Almost forgot. So we had a lot of, obviously, this is more Big East related. We had a lot of talk about close game luck this year. We didn't really talk much about the teams who didn't have a bunch of lucky wins. So obviously 68 teams in the NCAA tournament. Every team in it had at least one, quote, close win, which is defined as 6 points or less or it's in overtime. Only 2 of the teams had just one close win. Who are those 2 teams? I'll spoil that one of them is 14 seed Colgate, so I figured you probably wouldn't get that.
What? I'm not going to get this.
So who's the other?
You're going to have to give this to me. I don't know.
It's 1 seed Gonzaga.
Oh, I would have never.
Because Gonzaga only played in 3 close games all year.
Oh.
So it was what's kind of crazy, they entered the NCAA tournament having played in 1, the loss to Duke. Round of 32 Memphis was a 4-point game, and then the Arkansas game was a 6-point loss.
Yeah.
So I haven't done any studies to see if there's probably not much correlation really if you're on one extreme or the other. But I wonder if there could be, on the far extreme of like you playing a lot of close games, I think that's generally bad. But I wonder if there could be some sort of minor, mild correlation if you just don't play in close games at all season long. And then it's like, crunch time, and it's like, oh, shoot, what do we do? Arkansas, we're 4 for 24 from 3 or whatever.
So that's why, Will, you know how I'm going to end this. I'd love to keep potting, but it's time to go watch my Vols. Our Vols. Our Vols. VAWLS.
Or if you're Donnie Tyndall, Vowels.
Oh, yeah. How many years does he have left on his no-show clause? 3? Is it 3?
2 or 3. But he was a wrestling promoter for a bit, so maybe he's just out of it.
That man, we got to get him in Righteous Gemstones. Maybe that's where he belongs.
He can be the follow-up to Eric Andre's place this season.
What an electric performance from him. And just one of the best comedies of all time. Like, it's immediately one of the best comedies of all time.
Eric Andre, that was like a Luka level fourth quarter performance from Eric Andre in the season finale.
Yeah.
It was like watching Luka hit those step backs over the Phoenix Suns. I was like, what is Eric Andre going to do next? Eric Andre from way downtown. But credit to Danny McBride too. Great performance from him as usual. But that's not as
Well,
as
they're
surprising.
together. Like those two, putting them together was just an amazing idea. Like those
Yes.
two. Oh my god. Oh my god. Now you make me want to rewatch season 2.
And I'm such a simpleton that I honestly did not know the song that closes the season was not an original song. It's a cover of a Don Williams song from the 70s.
I didn't know that.
I had no idea too, but it's a banger, and I play it all the time.
It is a banger. There you go. And you know what else is a banger? Uncle Baby Billy's song that he did with, what is that song? What is the song? I have the jingle in my head.
Oh, Misbehavin'?
Yeah. What? I hear the core, this is how musically inclined I am. Not, is it the chorus? I guess it is the chorus.
Yeah.
The misbehave it. Like I have that stuck in my head, but like yes,
misbehaving, that part. Yeah.
Yes. And then Uncle Baby Billy driving off and selling his made up holy water throughout the season, and it all falling off. The best. I mean, the last episode of him just pulling a baby out of the porta potty, like that whole scene was incredible. Porta potty baby, just an incredible show. Uncle Baby Billy, another guy who just puts on a clinic on that very show.
Yes.
Walter Goggins. All right, so that's why we got some baseball to watch. I'll talk to you next week.